I was 22, I thought we could just start up like all the Silicon Valley guys, build up a company. Crazy as it seems, it's somehow kind of worked out, but not exactly on the brand space. We've tried our hand working with Minoff and very few brands to be exact. To be honest, we never made money on this business. But with Kerala Tourism, we've been doing some interesting stuff. We've been making some interesting revenues on that. So I'll just quickly take you through 10-15 slides on what we have done. How a brand has evolved from a very traditional piece. So a single snapshot of tourism industry is, I didn't know all these facts, it's around 6% of our GDP. 8% of people who work in India work in some way or the other related to tourism. Close to around 6 million tourists land up in India. A brand like Kerala Tourism used to only have the traditional media things. They used to do things on paper, they used to do things on video. And being especially from the government background, it's very difficult for them to break out, start thinking Facebook, digital media, mobile and so on and so forth. So we've been part of this journey for around possibly 3.5 years now, working with them. It's been a tremendous experience, a change of mindset. I'll just take you through some of the campaigns we've actually done. So this is one of the first things we started off in 2007. It was called the Dream Season campaign. This was a disaster. It bombed. So what we tried to do was, this is called the monsoon campaign. Monsoon and generally these seasons are when tourists don't come to Kerala. So we had this campaign where we thought you could kindle fire with water and so on and so forth. What we tried to do was there was a small SMS shortcode piece attached to this, where this was promoted primarily on FM radio channels and things like that. You could send in an SMS and you could have a flow where you could book finally a ticket or a package for Kerala Tourism. Unfortunately, nobody, though we rolled out the campaign, nobody really liked it. We had close to something around 2,000 hits. So this was in 2007. So somewhere from 2008 to 2011, we began thinking, it's time to move on further from the SMS world to more of GPRS. So first experience with Kerala Tourism, getting the brand from their kerala-tourism.org website to a mobile specific website was close in 2008. We did a small pilot campaign with AdMob and that turned out really well. The budget was close to possibly around 3 lakhs. There was a great number of hits. The number of traffic on the mobile tourism website tremendously went up. We started experimenting with different things in 2009. So mostly as a brand, we don't look at promoting the brand per se. We look at how a medium can be used to engage the brand. So if you look at tourism and if you look at the tourism infrastructure in India, it basically sucks. So if you go to any tourist spot in Kerala, you don't have audio guides. You don't have guides explaining to you, oh, so look, this is Napier Museum or this is, Bekal Fort and explaining stuff like that. If you go to specific spots, let's say Mysore Palace, you get your audio guide which you can put on your headphones and you can hear that stuff. So what we did is we cross-branded a campaign with Vodafone. And this has been fairly successfully running extremely well in Kerala. It's present in around 100 locations. What you do is, your phone becomes the audio guide. So you go to a location, there is this big mega hoarding. It says, welcome to India, happy to help Vodafone. Half of the other hoarding says, welcome to Kerala, God's own country. Dial a particular number, punch in the location code, and choose your language, and your phone becomes your audio guide. So the brand kind of felt, this made a lot of sense, and this thing is starting to see traffic of more than 10,000 people dialing in any given day. So this was one of the things that finally started to work for us as a brand. We did something interesting in 2010. This is called the Welcome Roamer campaign. So when the tourists are basically roamers. So when you possibly, when you travel and you land in a location, your cellular provider sends you an SMS, welcome to Bombay. Our customer care helpline is blah, 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 blah. So we cross-branded this campaign with Idea. So we've done a lot of stuff, cross-branding pieces. So when an Idea or when a foreign tourist lands in Kerala and if he's latching onto an Idea mobile network, you'll get your first SMS, welcome by Idea. Your second SMS says, welcome by Kerala Tourism. So we realized that a lot of tourists love that experience, and then you can imagine the rest of the things work. You'll have a small link on it, it takes you to the Kerala Tourism mobile website, so on and so forth.